This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York. This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Good afternoon. Hope all is well with everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. And actually, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I've always had some fun with the whole Mr. Rogers thing, especially in my neighborhood. But nevertheless, Tony Rogers here, your host for Urbanology, the Art of War, which William Anthony Rogers is my birth name, and so it's kind of a play on that. Nevertheless, this is the second Tuesday of the month, and I am always blessed and honored to be able to share my show uh, with Columbia University. Has been doing that for some time, and for the last a couple of years, I think almost now, Charlene De La Cruz has been part of that collaboration with Columbia, which started some years ago. So I have a great deal of gratitude and pleasure to be able to introduce Ms. Charlene De La Cruz, the director of the See You Grow program, at, among other things, at Columbia University.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
I'm doing I'm doing fine, and with all of the stuff that I know you had to do today, you look very rested. And you're an amazing lady, Charlene. I'm always blessed to be able to have this event on the second Tuesday of the month. And you guys are almost into your See You Grow program now. I have a guest. We were having technical problems
Yeah.
with Soul City as well as with uh, my guest for the first half of the show, Mr. Shaka Zulu, and I believe I'm trying to see. Sometimes we have posts we can't see them.
Yes.
I'm
No.
still I'm still getting used to. Oh, there's the brother. Can you hear me, Miss Desi? I still can't hear you.
No.
And one of the things that we're going to do is while Chuck is trying to get his technology going, as I was saying, the See You Grow program, its new semester has started. Is that correct?
It is starting, but I do want to say thank you for honoring this space and always inviting me to join you on the second Tuesday of the month. So I definitely, offer you my gratitudes for that. But yeah, it's always crazy to say, but we have started another cohort, and we're actually haven't started yet. So we're gonna start in 2 weeks. We will be starting a new cohort. We will be having a matching ceremony, um, where our
Well, let the listeners. Well, first of all, and again, I really hope Shaka, because I want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that he's doing as
yeah.
as, as in the business of health. Holistic health is a $1 billion business now. But let the listeners know while we're waiting what the See You Grow program is. And when you say the matching, which is extremely important, we've been doing this for so long. We know what we're talking about, but people who are seeing this for the first time may
Yeah,
not know.
absolutely. So, I manage a capacity building program for small businesses that are minority owned, women owned, or locally owned to Columbia University's campus. And we go from year to year. We work with those small businesses every year. We match them with a dedicated coach to support them on increasing their building capacity within their business, whether it be in marketing, whether it's restructuring their talent, whether it's how are they procuring with opportunities correctly or the appropriate way. So we identify different areas of growth within each business. Every business is different, so we approach it based on the needs that they have. I have the esteemed pleasure to work with 21 businesses this year.
Mhm.
And one of the aspects of the matching ceremony, it's really the launch of the See You Go program. So we invite all those businesses that were accepted into the program, and we invite our all of our course of expert talent of coaches to come into a room together, not knowing who's working with who, and we make announcements as we go throughout the program. And it's one of a very energetic elements of our events because everybody comes with high hopes, excitement, and then they're meeting their coach for the first time. We kind of like set time for them to get to know each other, talk, exchange phone numbers and emails, just to have like a very organic conversation. So I'm excited about the matching ceremony.
Now, are the coaches assigned prior to the matching ceremonies, or
Oh,
how?
yes. There's a lot of logistic that goes into this. So based on the needs of each businesses that have been accepted into the program, I have, assessed the business, understood kind of like what their meaning is, what are the challenges that they're experiencing, and based on the conversations we've had through the interview process, through their application, I'm able to really determine like this culture work well with this type of
Mhm.
business. So that is decided before the matching ceremony. And yeah, and I don't do too bad on the matching ceremony. So I think I kind of have a good keen eye on matching the right businesses with coaches. So yeah, and again, I am very fortunate that I don't have to do too much recruitment for my coaches. A lot of the coaches come back year after year.
Mm.
So my recruitment really relies more on getting to know smaller businesses within the construction industry so that I can recruit them for the following year. But I
Mhm.
am very grateful that I don't have to do such a high recruitment
Mhm.
with coaches.
Well, again, for the listeners, Charlene, you do an excellent job. I have been able to talk to some of the graduates, some of the people who are doing the program, and some of the coaches, and they all, of course, give you praise for your juggling and making these things happen. But I believe the important thing is that for those who are in, well, let me just, before I say that, let me let you say it. What type of business and what are the qualifications to be considered for the CU Grow program? I know you had a lot more applications than you you narrowed it down.
This year for 2023 cohort, we had 130 applications.
Uh,
And after going through all the eligibility requirements, we went down to about 50. And then we had to do interviews for all those types of businesses, which was a huge undertaking. I couldn't do that all by myself. So I had to enlist the support of my team to help me in that area. But the eligibility requirements is really important to recognize because that's how we can really determine which business can go on to that consideration step. We want to make sure that your revenue is at least within 250,000 to $5 million. If you are not certified as a minority or women-owned business, but have a business that resides within our local catchment area, um, however, if you're not certified, that shouldn't be a determinant, but you want to make sure that you qualify to certify as a minority owned and a women owned because we can support you and introduce you to different agencies that can help you with your minority or women owned certification. But we want to make sure that you qualify for that at least. And then having a service that actually is aligned with our needs. So we want to make sure that we work with businesses in the building trades. So as Tanya will always say, all the nooks and cranny that it takes to build a building, those are the services that we want. So if you are a painter, you do windows, flooring, carpentry, GCs, plumbing, electricians, all those elements of the building trade services is definitely needed and really valued for the program because again it's about building our vendor pool to make sure that we have qualified minority and diverse businesses into that.
well, again, that is something that's extremely important for many of you who might not know. Columbia will be in the construction business way past the time that we will be around. Many, many, many years of this. I just wanted to check to see whether or not Dr. Aziz was able to get on.
Mhm.
I,
Yeah.
I wanted to uh, have him on for a number of reasons. And can you hear us? Can we hear you?
You. Yeah.
I hope you can by
Yes,
now.
we can. Yes. We can. How are you?
I
I,
am wonderful. How are
Good.
you?
I'm doing great now that you're here with us. Great.
that's
Thank you,
that's
thank you, thank you.
that's great. And based on how things go, I'm sure that the spirits of the mind of the universe was working in our favor. Uh, I asked Dr. Uh, Saka Shaka Zulu Aziz to join us today, Charlene, because as I was saying, health and wellness, especially in the natural health and wellness field, is now turned into $1 billion business opportunity for people. And Shaka, who has been working in the community for many years as a martial artist, training, helping
Amazing.
people, has a new book out, which we'll
Okay.
talk about herbs and how people can use herbs in order to help them. I hope you have it so you can show it.
Yes, yes, I have it this time to show. Yes, for the people.
Very
and
cool.
we'll be developing an event on the 18th, I believe it is, uh, which is an annual event that brings together different types of wellness practitioners, martial artists. People go there to see some of the different types of things that uh, one might be able to pursue if they are looking for a natural way to heal themselves. But that's somewhat of an introduction. But my brother, please let the people know all of the things that I might have missed about you.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you Thank you to the great Tony Rogers of Urbanology for blessing the people with the wonderful information, and Sister Mrs. De La Cruz, wonderful information that hopefully, I hope that the people in the village of Harlem and the world would hopefully transform that into doing something with that. It's about businesses and growing. And so with that being said, growing, it also leads me into being an herbologist, a naturopath, and growing, growing into the flow, growing into the flow of businesses and incubation. And we need the help of people like you to help businesses in our community grow. So I want to salute you for doing the great work that you're doing. So I'm here to talk to everybody about some of the upcoming things that we have in the community that is healthy and wealthy, because like Brother Tony Rogers was saying, health is wealth. So how health is wealth is taking the information and transforming the information, as I've been doing as a martial artist for over 20 so years, and now connecting the martial arts as well as the healing arts. And so we've been doing like acupuncture, herbology. In fact, you see me right now with the change of the weather, even though everybody's feeling so good and jumping out with their t-shirts off, I'm actually sipping some tea, some green tea. And so the green tea is very good as a reminder, as an antioxidant. We need that to keep our nutrients alive, our immune system alive, because we're all under attack, mind, body, and soul. A lot of people coughing, sneezing, and so forth. So green tea, as well as a lot of other botanical herbs that I talk about and discuss in my book called Natural Herbs for the People, which is a very concise book, which is excellent to empower the people with the knowledge and the science of herbology. Very easy on the eye. And what I like to say about it is that many of the books that we had thus far were always written and drawn with pictures of the herbs in black and white. And we have to now move it up to today's time and speed. So we now have it in color.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we have a lot of the herbal descriptions, and we also show the remedies and the different ways that people can actually use these herbs. A lot of the herbs that we talk about are also in your cabinets, or at least they should be in your cabinets, I would say, because a lot of us are getting away from actually having, herbs, or, we using reprocessed foods and so forth. So we discuss about the importance of empowering ourselves with education, learning about what are you actually reading when you go into the supermarkets, or is it a stupid market? And when I'm saying that, meaning because of the labels, when was the last time folks ever read a label? And seeing the chemicals that are being placed into these so-called foods that are actually drugs masquerading as food in our communities. And so we're getting people educated into reading into the labels, empowering themselves with also learning about what natural vegetables that they can use, letting food be thy medicine, so that they can actually prevent diabetes, hypertension, blood pressure, and so forth, which you see is one of the main factors that is actually attacking people of color, as well as not just people of color, but everybody around the world, because of this whole oversaturation of reprocessed foods, fat foods, and so forth. So we got to get away from the Franken-food style of eating, and getting back into holistic lifestyle of eating. And so martial arts is a way of introducing that through Qigong, through breathing exercises, but also greatly through natural herbs that you can learn about through natural herbs for the people. And so again, this is a very good book.
How would
shows
someone,
you,
Shaka, how would someone be able to get the book? Is there a website or a phone number or something that will allow for people to follow up with what you were just talking about?
absolutely. Sure. So when we're talking about in the spirit of business, we had to go into the business because I come from the root of hip hop mothers and fathers. So I come from the culture and the era of hip hop. And we started this thing about peace, unity, love, and having fun. And
Well,
we became the
hip hop is going
pioneers
to be a
and the
senior citizen
creators.
soon, 50 years.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So it's about creating our own. So with that being said, I actually, with the experience of now becoming a self-published author, which supposedly sounds good, unfortunately, I've also felt the traumatization of being like a rapper or a rapper like back in the days who have not learned how to sign contracts or didn't know the reading the legal stuff that goes on behind the scenes when you're dealing with record industries. So you got book industries or platforms that say they will take your stuff and they won't sell your stuff, or they take more than what they're supposed to. So we have to learn better now in this day and time. So I have it where you come on my own platform and you buy from myself and people that look like us, and it helps to circulate in our community. So our website is naturalhealthhero.com. And again, that's www.naturalhealthhero.com. And we also have a YouTube channel which you have free information dealing with Qigong, herbs, and dealing with the Qi dance, teaching children and elderly people how to learn about getting rid of arthritis, also utilizing the cane as self-defense. We're going to have that class coming up, women's
And
self-defense
that's on
class.
YouTube under
And so
what?
we want to invite everybody to come on out to that event that we got on the 18th, this Saturday, which is the Comedic Masters Martial Arts, which will be celebrating the liberation of our health and our warrior legacy for the community over at the Malcolm X Dr. Betty Shabazz Center.
Okay. Give the address. Give the address to the Shabazz Center. You have it?
So the address is 3940 Broadway, New York, and that's at 10032 between 165th and 168th Street. Again, that is the Comedic Masters of the Martial Arts, the 23rd annual Comedic Masters of the Martial Arts. I have to say that very boldly and proud, because we've been doing this, teaching this aspect of Comedic Masters.
And for some reason, we lost him. And for some comedic health, for those who might not know the connection, Kemet, I was just explaining about what Kemet, the whole concept and comedic health, and how that comes from what the name that the Europeans gave Egypt, but Kemet was basically the name of the location. So, how can people get to the event? Is that on your website, or is there a different number to call if someone is interested in going to the event?
Yes,
and
so
I say
all that
that
information is.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, so the information on the 23rd Annual Comedic Masters is on the website, naturalhealthhero.com.
Mm-hmm.
They can also on Facebook, Natural Health Hero, and also hit Dr. Shaka Aziz. And I'm also on my email is naturalhealthhero786@gmail.com
Mm-hmm.
is how I can be contacted for wellness, holistic consultations, also martial art classes coming up. But yeah, we want to invite everybody in the community to come on out and celebrate the warrior legacy, celebrate the Harriet Tubman, the Underground Railroad of freedom fighters of the past, the present, and the future. It's all right to celebrate Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li, but in order to appreciate the fruit, you must go back to the roots. So the root of martial art, ladies and gentlemen, is in Africa, which we call a place called Kemet. And the word Kemet is the original name for Egypt before it was bastardized or pasteurized to the word Egypt by the Greeks. And so I've been teaching this and celebrating warrior history, not just from Africa, but all throughout the Caribbean, the Afro-Caribbean, the Latino Caribbean, the indigenous Native American warrior legacies. And we've been doing that. As of this day and time, we also have a all Black judo club that we have right here in Harlem on 111th Street and Lexington Avenue. And so we want to invite folks to take advantage of that and come on out and support us. So again, yes.
Go ahead. Give your number and give your contact.
My number is 347-391-9685. And the email is naturalhealthhero786@gmail.com. And I'm inviting everybody to come make sure you buy a ticket or salute, support at www.naturalhealthhero.com for services, information, affirmation to the people by any means necessary. Tony Rogers, this is business, brother.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward for my autographed book.
I'm on camera right now getting ready to sign it.
And Shaka, I'm very curious. Like, I know that you've done this huge work of writing a book, but like, what compelled you to like take all of your knowledge and put it into a book and sell it to your community?
Thank you. The reason why is because I wanted to make sure that I put the information in an aspect that it would be easily readable and easy on the eye, basically. So this book is a very good book. It's not 1,000 pages like a textbook, like I had to learn when I was in naturopath school or doing acupuncture. This book is about maybe 100 pages. Not only that this book has its 100 pages with color, concise information about herbs and history, also taking you back to the ancient Egyptians, to the Edwin Papyrus Smith. I'm sorry, right? But in light of what we're talking about business, I don't like to talk about brotherhood or sisterhood if I can't empower it and show and prove it. So I gotta salute brother Sensei Tony Us. But also in the back of my book, my Natural Health Hero book, I also have in the back also have my Natural Health Hero and Shiro chapters and members all throughout the community who are also on the same level of doing community business in the community. And they also have wellness services in the community, such as the African Holistic Health chapter, in which I'm a proud member of, as well as brother Tony. We've been doing the World Tai Chi Qigong Day for 1,000 years, and this is how we're still looking good, And so, and it was also a great gift because I love to share the information because I wanted to empower the people that natural herbs are for the people. In the spike of the COVID stuff that was happening, they were just sending people away and not giving anybody any information. And we forgot about our ancient mothers and forefathers' ways. We forgot about going back to the chicken noodle soup. We forgot about going to the green tea and the peppermint tea and the castor oil and rubbing it on the belly and, and the honey and the lemon. We forgot about all that. So this book is a slap black to reality on let's take health back into our hand because it's no one else's responsibility but ourselves.
Well, thank you again for sharing your time. Charlene, do you have any other questions for?
No, I mean, I think that's just very inspirational because I know that writing a book is not easy. So just, taking the time to really educate your community is very valuable. So I wish you the best of success, which you already have. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. As you as well. Keep up the great work.
Well, thank you, Shaka. We've been together for a long period of time, whether it's in the martial arts or interviews or in the wellness components and all of those things. So I'm always happy to to see you do that. I appreciate you. I'll do my best on the 18th to come through because there's so many different practitioners, so many different wellness practitioners. If you want to understand about the options that you might have as it relates to health and wellness. This event allows for you to actually there have tables and you can talk to people and get understanding because there are many different roads to Rome when you talk about health and wellness. So this is a good example to do that, and it supports the businesses. Wellness is a business. Everybody there are small business owners in some form or fashion. So please try to stop by, go to the website. Happy to support you, my brother, as always.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace and love to all of the listeners of Harlem and all throughout the world, and all the extended guests that's also on the show. Peace and blessings and empowerment, abundant health and wealth to all of us, because it is our birthright.
Well,
Amen.
thank you, and all the best with the book and the event, and keep up the good work. We
It's
need to stay.
time. You see it. You see it. You got it. You got it. Yours.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Tony got his copy.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
That was so great.
Well, yeah, I think that it's important. A lot of people do not understand that wellness now, which is, I guess, a good thing because for so long, a lot of the things that Shaka was talking about, some of the things that I have been doing, people kind of looked at it as not really a way to stay healthy. They would prefer to go to the doctor and be prescribed with certain types of medicines without knowing that years, centuries ago, before pharmaceuticals were invented, especially in places in Africa, South America, and to this day, herbs were the thing that kept people, healthy and alive. And as mentioned, sometimes we get away from that. And even if we do, we should try to find a way to balance,
Yeah,
especially if you have
absolutely.
young people to, you can't make them all vegans or vegetarians or all of those types of things, but you can bring balance, making sure that there are some foods that are not, microwavable
Processed and
or what
whatnot.
have you.
Yeah, it is a
Getting back,
balance.
and of course, I think that one of the best Valentine's Day presents is to allow for people to understand how they can stay healthy, especially the heart.
Yes, I think, yeah, as a community, we're always impacted, with heart diseases and things like that, just as Shaka had mentioned. So, um, I've lost many dear, family members that, lost their life very young because of heart disease that they weren't aware that they had. And it took
Heart
them
disease.
that quickly.
I just wrote an article about how there's an alarming number of men who die, African American men in particular, who die from prostate cancer. And it's interesting. It's something that only happens in America. I guess because
Oh,
the rate of Africans, African Caribbean or Africans who have gone to other parts of the world to live, it's not as severe as Africans in America. And I use Africans in America rather than saying African American. I try to change it to Africans who were born in America because
yeah.
that has a greater type of significance as far as historically looking at things. If you are African American, your history is about 400 years old, starting as a slave and going up from there.
Yeah.
If you're African who was born in America, then your history goes back to the beginning of mankind. And there's no difference between, you know, whether I'm an African who's speaks French, or I'm an African that speaks Spanish, or I'm an African that speaks Portuguese, or I'm
Yeah,
African. You know that there's no difference, which
that's
is
the foundation.
it's the foundation.
Yeah.
In many cases of everyone. You know, if you really start to go and look at the DNA of mankind, you know, we all are Africans in some form or fashion. But
Yeah.
give me an idea of what you would like to have going back into the See You Grow program. What would you like to see coming out of this program that maybe you haven't been able to accomplish or didn't see as much in the past? Because you learn every time you do something.
Yeah,
So,
I would say that's true. Like every cohort, there's like a new learning lesson for me and Tanya as well. Like how can we perfect this? How can we continue to perfect this to work, efficiently for everybody? I'm very excited about this year because we've are working on onboarding experts on insurance.
mhm,
We've noticed that insurance has been a very huge challenge for a lot of small businesses. And a lot of the times, businesses want to work with large stakeholders or large entities, like Gilbane or Skanska. And a lot of these representatives, you have to be prepared to have the compliance in terms of insurance. And that means you may have to have a significant amount of coverage to work with them, to be considered for projects and things of that nature. So we wanted to make sure that we're able to educate our participants in the program to understand, what are the negotiation tactics, what are the things that you should be aware, because unfortunately I've seen businesses that have insurance that covers nothing. They really don't have any coverage. It's just something, and it's because they're not knowledgeable about
mm,
are the key terms that they need to look out for, what are the things that they need to understand that's going to protect their business as well, not just the people that they're working with, but there's going to protect them as well.
mm.
So I'm very excited about that being a new key area for our participants this year. And it's just all about connecting people. So just having the opportunity to connect more participants to other key stakeholders and introducing them to other people is something that I'm very excited about. So Tanya and I are working with other capacity building programs, which is called Ascend NYC, which I think I mentioned it in our previous time. And that's like another path to, again, maximize our capacity and knowledge with other stakeholders that they have not been, aware of.
what's the percentage of um, graduates through the program that are able to actually work with some of the construction needs of Columbia University, which are many?
I mean, I think it's hard for me to measure because there's different levels of it. I feel like in terms of the percent, if there's like the percentage of direct work from Columbia to directly to that vendor, I would say it's probably like 30 to 40%.
Mhm,
And then I feel like a lot of the contracting opportunities are more under the subcontracting level. That's where more opportunities are available to our senior goal graduates. Because again, being directly contracted, that means you are responsible for the entirety of the project, the entire scope of the project. So we understand that that may be of magnitude in terms of capacity. Not everybody is at that same capacity. So that's why there is more opportunity at a subcontracting level.
mhm. And there is room for growth even at the subcontracting level, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's all about having, putting your foot at the door and proving yourself that you're able to do this work.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
then, like that, you're able to gradually grow within a business. So you may start as a carpenter of the business, but then as the more you understand what are the expectations are of that project and you understand what is it that needs to do, like how are you managing your workflow, then there you've proven yourself that you can then compete to be awarded as a GC for projects.
mhm. Uh, what are some of the construction, which I know that there's a lot of new construction going on, but Um, there's a hotel, which I think is basically an internal school facility that's on the corner of 125th Street and Broadway. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, so that's gonna be kind of our new kind of like faculty and student building, just so that we're not taking from the landscape of what's already there.
Hmm.
So because there is a new business school that's already been built, open and access to students, so we want to make sure that we're not taking from the landscape of the community. So we are working on that, and that is a faculty building. It's on a corner of 125th Street and Broadway.
Hmm.
But there are other buildings yet to be built. But currently, a lot of the opportunities are, of course, with like our residential construction and our renovations of different apartments and things of that nature. We also have retail spaces and things of
Hmm.
that nature within our the Morningside area.
I know that the 12th Avenue and the pier area is there's a lot of conversation, even a Ferris wheel and all kinds of things going on that location. A lot of Columbia construction is also designated for that area. Will that be more housing? Do you know, based on what the flavor of it is, or more academic schools? Or
I wouldn't be able to speak on that necessarily because I'm not necessarily like informed in all of those areas. So
not,
yeah, I know that it may seem that I'm involved in everything, but I'm not. So I can't necessarily speak to it. But I do see that there's a comment about apprenticeship, and that was one of the guests that I was hoping that we could have today. He is actually the executive director of Pathway to Apprenticeship, and I was very looking forward to getting to get him to interview with
Mhm.
us. So hopefully I can get him next month or the following, because I think he is actually working. He works with a lot of incarcerated youth within Harlem,
Mhm.
to again get them back on their feet, put them back into the workforce, give them training, any plumbing, electrician, and then give them the opportunity to work with union
That's
laborers.
great. Yeah, I would
So
like to have him on the show. Now, I know that there were some events coming up that you, um, I think, put into the chat box that I can't remember.
yes, so there are some, I don't have a guest for you today,
Mhm.
but I always want to at least offer some resources to our audience. And the Harlem Community Development Center is actually have a few series. So they have the first series is the trademarks and copyright webinar, which is something very valuable. I know that a lot of people are opening different businesses, but they also need to be aware of what are the legalities in terms of intellectual property. So there is a workshop on that. And that is happening February 16th. It's a webinar, so it's very easily accessible.
Mhm.
There is a link where I think I put it here. I could put it again if you need to. Let me just copy it.
And is there a website in case someone is looking to do it? I mean, looking to be involved in it. Is it? Do you go
So
to Do you go to the Harlem Community Development Corporation site, or how can you find out about the the, the
yeah,
webinar?
so I sign up to their I sign up to receive all of their workshops and things of that nature. So I could put that also
Mhm.
in the link. This is their website. You can see all the events that are happening within this month and the next month. They're really great. They send you emails every single time there's a new webinar that's happening. To again, it's to build your capacity within your business. A lot of times I share that with our alumni and
Mhm.
current participants, like, hey, this webinar is happening. If
Mhm.
you're able to join, because again, you may be so accustomed doing things the way that you've normally done it, but there are new trends, there are new ideas that are being presented that you may not be aware. So it's always important to at least stay up to date with those.
Well, again, Charlene, I appreciate. And was that was there something else you guys were getting ready to do, or another program that's coming up that you?
Well, there are, I mean, there is a lot of things happening. Like I said, we do have a partnership where we're working with Ascend New York City.
Right.
They are wrapping up their current cohort. So as soon as I have more information on their next cohort, I'm happy to share it. But I did put the link in the chat for Ascend New York
Mm-hmm.
City. You can go to their website, learn more about them. I always work with them very collaboratively. A lot of the businesses that were not accepted into the program, I do share that list with them for them to consider them for their cohort as well,
Mm-hmm.
just so that they can do outreach with them as well. So we work very collaboratively together. And then I think another thing that I know that a lot of businesses always want to, if they want to like maximize additional support, like Columbia University has their own small business development center. So if you need assistance with certified as a minority or woman owned business, you can reach out to that small business development center and they could help you.
Mm-hmm.
They also have actual trainings and part series that can help you with like your QuickBooks. I can't tell you how many businesses I've met that still do their businesses through Excel. And it's important to do it through QuickBooks so that you have a presence, a business presence, and working with them, having invoicing, and it just makes everything a little bit more seamless.
Well, again, I think that, and the last time we were on the show, one of the important things too, and I will keep uh, talking about it, is having not only a website but having a presence on your iPhones, which is kind of new to me. I
Yeah.
I remember the party line, which I said that to someone, and they would say, "What? What? They ordering?" I said, "No." At one point, you would pick up your phone, and the operator would plug you into whoever you wanted to speak to, and probably listen to what you're saying. But the idea now of cell phones have really become so. I mean, I'm lost without people don't even use dictionaries anymore because how do you spell this? You know, businesses, and I learned this on the last show that we had, tend not to put as much emphasis, and some probably don't really have to do it as much as others, depending what the business is. But you have to have a presence. You have to have a web presence. Some, as you know, contracts are only you can only do them online. You know.
I mean, in this world, yes. Now that's definitely our platform now. Everything that we do in terms of how we've engaged with businesses for the past 3 years has been virtually. It had been at a hybrid level. I think I went to a conference a few months ago and I realized I didn't have business cards, and I saw somebody, they just had like a web based business card where you could just scan the QR code from their phone and you have their contact is just quickly saved onto your phone. So technology is advancing always. So it even puts into question, do I need a business card now? I could just give you a code and you could scan it and saves my contact onto your phone.
Which is how things are going. Sometimes um, it can be frightening that it goes so fast. Things change as soon as I kind of
Just
get
learn one.
on one thing, they're doing something else, and I'm saying, "Oh my goodness!" But for small businesses or businesses, period, but especially small businesses, one of the things that's important is to try to make sure that your website is compatible to phones, because now the phones have become the computers. And in many cases, if you can't see your site on a phone, especially if you're talking internationally, because we're so behind here in America, but every place else in the world, the phone is your life, and if it's
Yeah,
not
it
there,
is. It is. It absolutely. And I don't know if you recall when we had Infinite Horizon. He was one of our CU Grow graduates, and he just mentioned that like him and his team, they share an app that has all the information on every single project, accessible from the fingertips of their phone. All they have to do is click into an app and they can access all the files that's needed for different project, which makes your team more seamless. You don't have to wait. Oh, I can't answer that because Tony has that information. No, I have it because it's in an app. We all have access to it. And I think that is what makes your business practices more better. If you can just create autonomy with everybody within within your team, then you can work more seamlessly. You don't have to wait on one person that has all the key knowledge on your business practices, because what happens if that person leaves? Like, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to start from square one. So it's very important to just be very transparent, and build the trust within your talent to make your projects more seamless.
Well, Charlene, thank you again for being with me on the second Tuesday of
Always.
the month, where we can allow for people to, of course, know what's happening at Columbia University, what employment opportunities are there. And at some point, um, I would like to invite uh, some of the other people who do things at Columbia. For instance, if I want to start a business, there are places. I think it was the
Yeah, the
business
small
school,
business development.
small
Yeah.
business school. If you're thinking about starting a business or how you market your business, all of those types of things, Columbia is very good. And most of you know, I'm a City College guy, so I have balanced both City College at Columbia University for many years, because in Harlem Harlem has the largest amount of institutions of higher learning uh, in one community within not only the city, but I don't think there's any other place, any other community, urban community, that has so many
Yeah.
institutions of higher learning within them, which is one of the blessings. I think it's maybe about 17 in the greater Harlem area. But Columbia University is the oldest private institution, and and City College is the oldest public institution. And I've always had the pleasure of being able to kind of combine both together. We had a program called the Harlem Partnership Center, which goes back some time ago.
Wow.
But nevertheless, thank you for keeping Columbia in the orbit of urbanology, and I look forward, as always, to see what you're going to come up with. Like I said before, next in March is Women's History Month,
Yes.
so I'm giving you the charge
It's all on me.
to come up with some interesting people. But I would like, at some point, even if it's after that, the person that you were talking about that works with the young people to help them understand trades and getting into the union.
Yeah, I would love to schedule that. So I'll work on scheduling him maybe after March,
Mhm.
so that we can have him outline. And I think that that would probably be aligned with his recruitment schedule. So we'll
That's
touch
right.
base. Yeah.
All right. All things happen for a reason. Thank you, Charlene David Cruz. I appreciate it. And this lady has so much to do. So uh, all of the stuff that she's talking about, I don't know how and of course she has a life. She's a mother. She has other things that I don't know how you do it, but I'm just glad that you could do it and look so calm and collective when I know that you're going crazy. So
Tanya always calls me like I'm just like a duck. I'm just very, very calm at the top, but I'm like paddling away at the bottom. So that's exactly that's exactly
well,
what I'm doing.
I appreciate you, and thanks again, and looking forward to seeing you next month. It's almost hard to believe next month is March. We're almost in summer.
Yes, but I would like to have a winter. I don't think we had a winter at all. So
Well, I'm not complaining, but nevertheless, we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Well, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you,
you.
Tony.
And thanks Soul City for giving us a platform. We'll be back next week. I have Robert Elis is an international photographer who's taken photos throughout the African diaspora as a guest. He just recently went to Senegal. Actually, it was last year, but it was a couple of months ago, and took some beautiful pictures that at some point there we might put together an exhibit because he just took so many wonderful pictures. But we'll have him on to talk a little bit about his experiences as a photographer and how that has taken him around the world. Matt McCoy and Jasmine, Soul City team, appreciate you as always. And this is Tony Rogers. Hoping everyone has a good rest of your Valentine's Day. And if you forgot about it, hopefully I was able to remind you so that you can redeem yourself in some kind of way. And look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
This is Kia Rogers, and you're listening to Urbanology with my dad, Tony Rogers, on WHCR 90.3 FM New York.
Urbanology.